for all you do and keeping us informed.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Just getting ready to we're going to hit warp speed here right out of the gate this morning. Please hit the like button. If you're watching the show, especially if you're watching daily, please hit the like button. I appreciate it. Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. It is so great to have you along this morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. I think Politico probably capped what happened at the Democratic National Convention last night. Politico's got a piece this morning. Democrats just can't quit Donald Trump. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it. I think we can we leave it there this morning? Can we just, not share any additional details? The Democrats just can't quit Donald Trump. Trump was very much the theme, and even Politico, left-wing Politico, understands that. For the first time in a long time, Democrats have, a nominee in Kamala Harris they're excited about, but they can't quit Donald Trump. The party's muscle memory and strategic imperative for bashing him are too strong. That's true of any strong Republican. That will be true of any strong Republican. It's not just Trump. Now, Trump, his personality is such that he goads these people, and it makes it, I think, even more. But this is where I think Politico misses the mark by a mile. That would be any strong Republican. The Democrats, and I think many in the legacy media, just do not like strong Republicans. You see that over and over. So it was night 2 of the Democratic National Convention. Let's check out the headlines this morning at Breitbart. I thought those were pretty great yesterday. Breitbart, Fantasy Night, the return of the Obamas. Michelle O goes low, plays the race card. Layers in veiled attacks on Trump. Barack Classic, former president demonizes Republicans for half an hour, then calls for unity. Yeah. So it's again, this is the Democrat playbook. And the president did the same thing. He's demonizing, and then, but we got to pull together. Wait a minute, you just spent the last half hour or to an hour criticizing me, and now you're saying we've got to pull together. Classic Democrat move. And then also former President Obama saying that Joe Biden's his brother, after having pushed him out, and this goes on. Biden completely ignored, reports Breitbart. So let's get into it in more detail. 5 takeaways from the second night of the DNC convention. Let's go to the Washington Examiner and see what they say the top takeaways are. Barack Obama serves as a bridge to a potential Harris presidency. And Obama said, now the torch has been passed. Now it's up to all of us to fight for the America we believe in. And make no mistake, it will be a fight for all the incredible energy we've been able to generate over the last few weeks. This will still be a tight race in a closely divided country, a country where too many Americans are still struggling and don't believe government can help. Best thing government can do to help is get the hell out of the way. But I digress. And so Obama said, I'm feeling fired up. I'm feeling ready to go, even if I'm only stupid enough. I'm feeling ready to go, even if I'm stupid enough to speak after Michelle Obama, he said. I'm feeling hopeful, because this convention has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible, he said. Other big moments from Obama's speech last night. He talked about Tim Walz. Tim's the kind of person who should be in politics. Somebody who was born in a small town, served his country, taught kids, coached football, took care of his neighbors, many of whom are not big fans of Tim Walz. I mean, he talked about Donald Trump. He said this is a 78-year-old billionaire who hasn't stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It's been a constant stream of gripes and grievances. And I'm like, what has he been listening to? Is he actually listening to the legacy media? I mean, I don't know. You're hearing the cuts this morning from Fox News Radio as an example. So here are the Democrats, gripes and grievances. And what do you hear on Fox News this morning? Donald Trump, very matter-of-factly, just speaking, not, it's like, okay. The childish nicknames and crazy conspiracy theories and weird obsession with crowd size, it just goes on and on. And then he talked about Joe Biden. He said, it's been 16 years since I had the honor of accepting this party's nomination for president. I know it's hard to believe because I have not aged a bit, but it's true, he said. Obama's a smart guy, great sense of humor. History will remember Joe Biden as, I'm not saying I'm a fan of Barack Obama. I'm just acknowledging I think he's a pretty smart character. A lot smarter than Joe Biden. I think he's tons smarter than Kamala Harris. History will remember Joe Biden as a president who defended democracy at a moment of great danger. Here we go again. I'm proud to call him my president, but even prouder to call him my friend. And of course, Joe Biden was not there last night. Also, we had Kamala Harris' husband, Doug Emhoff, who spoke last night saying he was proud of his wife for rising to the occasion and saying that he you know that laugh of Kamala Harris, that laugh? He said, you know that laugh? I love that laugh, he said. That's actually one of the big takeaways from his speech. So those are a few of the takeaways at the Washington Examiner. Let's go to Axios, left-leaning Axios. 5 takeaways from Obama night at the DNC. Michelle's tour de force. Michelle Obama said of Kamala Harris, she understands that most of us will never be afforded the grace of failing forward. We will never benefit from the affirmative action of generational wealth, referring, of course, to Donald Trump. She went after Trump for his ugly, misogynistic, racist lies. Whatever happened to the old, when they go low, we go high. Remember that? Democrats say, when they go low, we go high. There was none of that. They're going low. How low can you go? And she said, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs, which also got laughter. Then Barack Obama making a plea for unity. Again, you criticize Donald Trump and you criticize the Republicans and you trash them for 30 minutes and then you talk about unity. And the left and of course their cohorts in the legacy media think that is significant. It's wild. So the Hill's also got a piece. Obama's dominate the Democratic National Convention. It's a great piece at Breitbart. Trump living rent-free in Obama's head. Yeah, Barack Obama was comparing Donald Trump to a neighbor with a leaf blower who's out there and making all kinds of noise. That's the reaction that he had of Trump. He said, compared Trump to an annoying neighbor running a leaf blower, said that it's exhausting from a neighbor, but dangerous from a president, he said. So this just goes on. New York Post. Let's see what they're reporting this morning. New York Post says that the Barack Obama praised selfless Joe Biden. Oh, selfless, really? In the midst of, Republicans releasing their final report this week showing what he's been up to and all the money that the Bidens have received, and selfless. Oh, how can these people deliver these speeches without laughing? That's, it's like, oh man, we're going to, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to claim that Joe Biden is selfless, and behind the scenes, they're yucking it up, laughing, out there deadly serious. I did it. I pulled it off without laughing. Oh, man, these are the best actors I've ever seen. Obama said, at a time when the other party is turned into a cult of personality, we needed a leader who was steady and brought people together and was selfless enough to do the rarest thing there is in politics, putting his own ambition aside for the sake of the country. Now, again, if you know the reality of what's going on, the fact that Democrats literally forced him out, that Joe Biden wanted to run, Democrats forced him out, and then you have Obama out there saying this. And of course, the crowd goes nuts. We might want to pump some oxygen into that into that venue tonight. Let's get some oxygen, restore oxygen to the brains of those who are watching. This is just absolutely incredible. History will remember Joe Biden as an outstanding president who defended democracy at a moment of great danger. And I'm proud to call him my president. I'm even prouder to call him my friend. Yeah. So much that Democrats forced him not to run again, not to seek re-election, and to drop out of the race. So also, pro-Palestinian agitators and police clashed outside the Chicago's Israeli consulate yesterday as the Democratic National Convention underway nearby. They set an American flag on fire outside of the consulate, attacked a journalist when he tried to remove the flag from the flames. They were chanting things like, free Palestine and F this country, burn it down, was taking place also yesterday in Chicago. We will talk about this in more detail coming up this morning. RFK Jr.'s running mate, Nicole Shanahan, said not only did the Democrat Party sabotage RFK Jr.'s campaign from both the inside and out, but they may quit the presidential race to support Donald Trump. What is this? She said, there's two options that we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Tim Walz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, she said. The other option is to chuck it in and join the former president. We walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. She said it's not an easy decision. So what does Donald Trump say? Trump says, yeah, he would consider this. Trump said he'd consider RFK Jr. for a spot in his administration if he quits his campaign and endorses Donald Trump. So in an interview with CNN yesterday, Trump said of RFK Jr., he said, I like him a lot. I respect him a lot. I probably would if something like that were to happen, an endorsement. So if he would give RFK Jr. a cabinet position if he were to drop out of the race and endorse Trump. Now, think of how incredible that would be, because you've got an incredibly close race. I was talking about that a little bit yesterday in some of the polling that's out there, and that independents might play a big role, or will, rather, according to polling. It looks like independents are may play a big role, especially in Pennsylvania. So I shared that story yesterday. Then if you were to have RFK Jr. stop his, suspend his campaign and endorse Donald Trump, what impact would that have? And I'm curious to get your reaction to that. You and I will talk about that in a little bit more detail coming up this morning. Other big news stories this morning: Donald Trump will hold his first outdoor rally since the assassination attempt. So I believe this is today in North Carolina. So they're boosting security precautions for an afternoon rally today at the Aviation Museum in Asheboro, North Carolina. And they'll be using bulletproof glass to protect Trump. They've not done that previously. They will this time. Also, there's a story, big one. Donald Trump revealing where his son Barron will be attending college. Trump did an exclusive interview with the New York Post, and he told them that Barron Trump will attend a university in New York this fall. And he said he's all set in a certain school that's very good, Trump said, but he would not name the school. He said he would leave that to his son. That's up to his son to do that. So he said the school is in New York State, but they will be, his team would be making an announcement about the specific school soon. Another big story this morning. House Speaker Mike Johnson reacting to a report. This was a Biden administration report issued yesterday that Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, lost track of tens of thousands of unaccompanied migrant children. And Johnson said this is a humanitarian catastrophe and that Kamala Harris cannot be trusted to fix it. More than 32,000 unaccompanied migrant children failed to report for their immigration court hearing, and ICE was not able to account for their whereabouts. Wow, tens of thousands. Another big story this morning, you had, and this been brewing the last few days because Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear was on MSNBC on Tuesday talking about, this was coverage of the DNC, and he said of J.D. Vance that J.D. Vance is out there lying to people. The Democrats would like abortion through 9 months of pregnancy. Not true, saying Bashir. It's just fear tactics. It's just lying to people. I mean, think about what some people have had to go through because of these laws. I mean, J.D. Vance calls pregnancy resulting from rape inconvenient. Like, inconvenience is traffic. I mean, make him go through this. It is someone being violated, someone being harmed, and then telling them that they don't have options after that. That fails any test of decency, of humanity. That's what Bashir said. J.D. Vance responded in a post on X. He said, "What the hell is this? Why is Andy Bashir wishing that a member of my family would get raped?" Wow, incredible. And then I heard this at Clay and Buck yesterday, and I laughed out loud. We've got to talk about this morning also. The least attractive hobbies for men, according to women. Women were asked, what are the least attractive hobbies for men? And this cracked me up as I heard it yesterday, and we'll talk about it in more detail. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Weekend 6 to 9 p.m. Kello, NewsTalk 1320, 107.9.
Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires. See in-store details about how to get rebates from major tire manufacturers. 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
In today's fast-paced business world, building relationships is key. At Lawrence & Schiller, it's about pushing boundaries and problem solving.
Yeah, this least attractive hobbies for men, according to women. I will tell you, I'm not going to tell listeners on the air here. Playing video games. It had an unattractiveness score of 90. Playing video games is one of the least. And I am a video game junkie. I am. I have been for years. And I thought, seriously? Collecting figurines. Okay, let's define figurines. Are action figures figurines? I'm striking out big time here. We'll talk about that coming up this morning after 8. This made me laugh. All right. Back to business here.
Big Blue will find a term life policy for you, even if you have type 2 diabetes or overweight.
All right, let's see what's going on in the Kello.com News Center. Excuse me. You know, I was really feeling crummy on Monday. I feel much better this morning. Yesterday was feeling better. Today, much better. So I don't know why I was been feeling off. I was over the weekend and then into Monday. So about 3 days there that I really just was kind of yuck, you know. Feeling much better. It's 6:30, and you're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. Coming up, state officials are warning South Dakotans about a jury duty scam. Also, the Bennett Fire in the Black Hills National Forest now fully contained. Joe will have details on those stories coming up for you in moments. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Former President Barack Obama firing up the crowd at the Democrats' convention in Chicago after a ceremonial roll call vote nominating Kamala Harris for president.
I'll be back with you in a few moments.
Because this convention has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible.
He says he's the only one stupid enough to speak after his wife, Michelle.
Kamala Harris is more than ready for this moment.
Tim Walz accepts the Democrats' vice presidential nomination this evening. Former President Trump campaigns with his running mate J.D. Vance in North Carolina today. He was in Michigan yesterday.
Every auto worker here will be out of a job within 3 years if I'm not elected.
Most polls have Vice President Harris ahead of the former president slightly in Michigan. Her big convention speech is tomorrow night. America's listening to Fox News.
KELO News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the KELO.com News Center. State officials are warning South Dakotans about a jury duty scam. They say thieves posing as law enforcement call or email folks and falsely claim that the recipient has missed jury duty, owes fines, and will be arrested if they don't pay. The scammers pressure victims into providing personal information or making immediate payments to avoid arrest. If you receive a jury duty related call or email, do not provide any personal information or send money. The Bennett fire in the Black Hills National Forest is now fully contained. Crews were still on site yesterday mopping up the burned area. The Bennett fire scorched 367 acres. The fire was started by a lightning strike last Thursday. The door is open to overcome the burden of bureaucratic rules. That's the view of Senator Mike Rounds. A recent Supreme Court ruling overturned 40 years of giving bureaucrats the upper hand in determining the impact of new laws. Senator Rounds says now it's time to set things straight.
The vast majority of the regulatory activity coming out of Washington, D.C. that people were irritated with was not based upon the direct result of a law, but rather the rules being put in place by federal bureaucrats trying to interpret the law in their own way.
The senator says 41 states, including South Dakota, have set up committees to make sure bureaucrats were enforcing laws as they were intended. He has introduced legislation to do the same thing on the federal level. And following a 2-year legal battle, the decision to cut the gymnastics program out of the Sioux Falls School District has been reversed. The agreement says gymnastics will be offered.
Leaning away from the camera as I cough, as if you could actually get my germs.
Be cut without a public hearing and vote from the local board. The parents of the gymnasts have agreed to drop any other lawsuits or Title IX claims. From the KELO.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. KELO.
All right, we've got a few minutes here, and I'm already set to go. I've already got trending stories sorted out this morning. Where are they? There they are. So I want to ask you, if while you're watching, please hit that like button. It makes a big difference. And some of you are doing that. The video winds up getting viewed by a number of people more than actually will hit the like button. If you're a fan of the show and you're watching, please hit the like button because it makes a big difference. It really does. So if you just depress that, that's all I'm asking. Whether you like what I'm doing, hate what I'm doing. It's very much. I likely, if you hated what I was doing, I don't think you'd be here. So please, if you'll take a moment to hit that like button, and then I also want to invite you to join me coming up at 9:30 for the 4th hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. Now that we do from down in my office, and it's much more relaxed. When I'm doing this hour, my focus is on the radio show. And I'm pretty well prepared this morning. I've got things already lined up, so I'm able to converse with you a little more than I have previously. But when I do the 4th hour, those who are watching the video, especially those who are watching it live at 9:30 every weekday morning, I can respond to them in exactly the same way that I respond to callers during the radio show, where we take calls and I have a conversation. I can see of subscribers, I can see their comments on the screen. And so I'll read those and I'll react to those. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for me, and I hope it is for you too. And again, I focus on what happens is, while I'm on the air, my attention is on the radio show. My attention is not on, oh, I got to get this story. I've got to, what are the new developing stories that are out there? I really don't have time for that. One thing I do while I'm on the air is I keep Fox News. We've got a television screen right behind my camera here. And I can see Fox News Channel. So if there is breaking news or something significant happens, I'm certainly aware of it and then can go find something. But during the course of the radio show, I just don't have time to do it. I'm busy, I spend a lot of time talking and or conversing with you and taking your thoughts. So after the show, then I have a chance to very quickly kind of peruse developing stories that are out there. And I go to a list of the same websites that I visit every morning. And I see what's happening, that's new. And then I share those very briefly. And then as you react to it in the comments, I will react to those as well. And one of the things I really enjoy about the fourth hour is it's much more relaxed for me than the radio show. The radio show is, especially this hour, the 6 a.m. hour, is pretty intensive. I'm getting settled in for the day. So I'm going through the big stories. I'm going through all the trending news. I try to touch on a lot with you during this hour. So during that 9:30 show, it's more relaxed and it's more of a conversation with friends, between friends. And I hope you'll be able to join me. So I do that if I'm on the air, then we're doing it at 9:30. Ran into some problems yesterday, which are take a bit to explain. I was signed in under the wrong Google ID, and so I was late, but I'm on board. I'm aware of the problem now. So hope you'll join me this morning at 9:30. And here we go. Sorry, whoop. I'm talking to the camera. Forgetting I had opened my mic. All right, 6:38. And it's great to have you along. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show here on Kello. Yeah, we live stream video of the 6 a.m. hour every morning. You can find that on YouTube. And I'm really appreciative to all of those who have subscribed to me and my content on YouTube. We are up to over 180 people now. We started with a mere 25. Now we're up to over 180. That's not a ton of people. I'm not, and I've said before, I'm not competing with Joe Rogan. I'm not competing with Tucker Carlson. But I'm really grateful to have you along. So there are a few people, and I can see them this morning. They are watching this morning on YouTube. So hello, and my thanks to you for watching, and my thanks to you for listening, my friend. Again, this hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Well, night 2 of the Democratic National Convention is big news this morning. You had Michelle and Barack Obama throwing their support behind Kamala Harris. And Michelle Obama told the DNC crowd that hope is making a comeback, she said. And she was talking about it's something wonderfully magical is in the air, isn't it? She said. Not just here in this arena, but spreading all across this country we love, a familiar feeling that's been buried too deep for too long It's the contagious power of hope, she said. Barack Obama, during his speech, went after Donald Trump, who was whining all the time. Donald Trump, he said, with his constant stream of gripes and grievances, and he also then said some incredibly nice things about Joe Biden. Also, you had Kamala Harris' husband, Doug Emhoff, who spoke at the Democratic National Convention, and he recalled his first time meeting Kamala Harris, remembers his rambling first voicemail to her, and said, she makes me listen to it on every anniversary. Also, the campaign of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. may be dropping out and joining forces with Trump. This is coming from Nicole Shanahan, who is RFK Jr.'s running mate. And she said there's two options that we're looking at. One is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Tim Walz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, she said. Or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump. And, we walk away from that and explain to our base why we're making this decision. And then she went on to say it would not be an easy one. So Nicole Shanahan is out there suggesting this, that they might drop out of the race. And so then Donald Trump was asked about this. And Trump said, yeah, he's open to it. Certainly be open to giving Kennedy a role in his administration if he winds up winning the election. So that would be an absolute game changer in a race that is very, very tight. And so if that's true, now that's coming from Nicole Shanahan, not coming directly from RFK Jr., but we know he's been out there seeking, I think he knows the end is near. So he's been out there, seeing who would give him a cabinet position for this. He's got an endorsement. What will you give me for it? Been out there peddling that. The Kamala Harris campaign has had none of it. So his only hope here is Trump. And Trump saying he's very open to it. So we'll talk about that in more detail coming up this morning after 7. Now, as we talk about people, if Donald Trump were to win, receiving a cabinet position, Elon Musk said he's willing to serve after Donald Trump had talked about, appointing Elon Musk. If Trump wins, he would appoint Elon Musk and give him a position in his administration. And Elon Musk says he's willing to serve. So Trump had said, forgive me, I was looking specifically for the Department of Government Efficiency. This is what they're talking about. The Department of Government Efficiency. And so Trump was asked about this, and he said of Musk, he's a very smart guy. I certainly would. If he would do it, I certainly would. He's a brilliant guy, Trump said. And Elon Musk then responding to that saying, I would serve. Wow. There's some incredible things that this campaign has just been, unlike any other, I think, that we have seen certainly that I've seen. I've been covering political races for a long time, and this is just like incredible. Also, you had J.D. Vance then responding to Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, who Beshear had been making comments about J.D. Vance on MSNBC the other day, and J.D. Vance responding to this, that because what Beshear had said on MSNBC yesterday morning, talking about abortion and so on, and saying, make him go through this. And so Vance responded with a post on X saying, "What the hell is this? Why is Andy Beshear wishing that a member of my family would get raped? What a disgusting person," he said. There's a lot of that going around, I've noticed. Also, President Biden has approved a secret nuclear strategy, refocusing on coordinated threats from China, Russia, and North Korea. This is reporting from the New York Times, and it's trending. So these are updates to a strategic document called Nuclear Employment Guidance. And those were approved by the president in March. And so the New York Times reported yesterday that the document is updated about every 4 years and is highly classified. There are no electronic copies that exist. Also, Iranian hackers, as you know, have been targeting the Trump campaign as well as the, I think, the Biden campaign when it was a campaign. And apparently it was Donald Trump's attorney that was targeted by the hackers, according to sources. Number of stories trending. Let's go to the New York Post. Trump's lawyer, who's worked for Trump for several years, was identified to CNN by 3 sources as one of the targets. It's unclear to what degree the hackers were able to access information in her accounts. Been a lot of concern about that. Other stories that are trending this morning. Jennifer Lopez has filed for divorce 2 years to the day after she married Ben Affleck. So they have now filed for divorce. TMZ reported that Lopez was seen house hunting on her own. Affleck was photographed leaving his home in Brentwood, California, rather than his shared family home with Lopez. So Jennifer Lopez has filed for a divorce. And for those who follow celebrity news, that story is actually trending this morning. Also, this is Maria Branyas, the oldest person in the world, has died at the age of 117. Wow, absolutely incredible. So she 117, and she had said in a message recently that her time was near. She knew. So she survived a plague epidemic, 2 world wars, and her family saying she has died at the age of 117. Wow, incredible. Also, the wife of Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota, Gwen Walz, reveals that she did not undergo in vitro fertilization. Tim Walz has said that she did, or many have assumed that based on his reaction or comments that he had made, that she had gone through in vitro. So they're apparently, she's setting the record straight. They did not go through in vitro fertilization. They used another common treatment, but not IVF. And honestly, I'm not entirely clear as to why that story is trending, but it is. Also, Disney has backtracked after attempting to dismiss a wrongful death lawsuit because the man who was bringing the lawsuit had signed up for a Disney Plus subscription. His wife had died at Disney World. Her death was at Disney World, had absolutely nothing to do with their Disney Plus subscription. He had picked up a trial Disney Plus subscription. And when he did that, he then agrees that, yeah, he cannot sue Disney. Well, he's not suing Disney over anything to do with his Disney Plus subscription, but circumstances that he believes led to her death when they were at Disney World. And so now, since the news of this has gotten out, that Disney was saying, no, you signed an agreement, you wouldn't. Well, now they have backtracked on that, and his lawsuit then will be able to move forward. Disney will still have their day in court. I mean, the guy's still got to prove his case, right? But Disney trying to say you signed up for a Disney Plus subscription, therefore you can't sue Disney. What the? That's just crazy. Also, an independent commission has investigated the facts of the Lewiston, Maine mass shootings and have released their final report, say that police officers should have undergone steps to seize this man's firearms, the shooter's firearms, because Maine has a yellow flag law. So the final report on these shootings in Maine are criticizing Army supervisors. They're saying, they're detailing how local law enforcement and Army Reserve leaders failed repeatedly to take steps to prevent that mass shooting. Also, the U.S. fertility rate has dropped to a record low, or did last year, according to data from the CDC. And they say there's a package of demographic changes, people getting married later and less often, spending more years in school, and taking longer to get economically established in a steady job are some of the reasons. So the U.S. birth rate is falling as a result of a number of those things. Also, the bodies of 6 Israeli hostages have been removed from the Hamas tunnels under Han Yunis. That story is trending. So the Israeli military retrieved the bodies of 6 hostages from those tunnels. Also, story trending about Nancy Pelosi appearing unenthusiastic during the "We Love Joe" chants at the DNC the other on Monday night. So the reaction to Nancy Pelosi chanting "We Love Joe," people saying very ironic. because she's one of the ones who pushed Joe Biden out, convinced him apparently not to run. Also, Governor Josh Shapiro, who was wondered as to whether Shapiro would be Kamala Harris' choice for her vice presidential running mate, which he was not. Governor Shapiro is saying anti-Semitism did not play any role in that decision. So the reason that Kamala Harris apparently went over, passed him by in favor of Tim Walz, anti-Semitism had nothing to do with it. Also, I shared this story with you yesterday. It's trending this morning. Donald Trump says he'll do a Fox News town hall on September 4th instead of a proposed debate. Fox News Channel had proposed a debate on September 4th. Donald Trump had agreed. Kamala Harris did not. And so Trump says in place of the debate, he will do a live teletown hall with Sean Hannity. Also, General Motors has laid off more than 1,000 salaried software and services workers. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. We'll get you a look at national and local headlines coming up here in just a few moments. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Problem or minor repair. It takes an expert to know. Hi, this is Greg Belfrage for the experts at Jim's National Transmission, downtown at 4th and Weber. Okay, I got some weird things going on here, so I'm going to cut it very short here this morning. Thanks for letting me join you. Please hit the like button. Hope to see you at 9:30 for the 4th hour. I'll see you then, and or I hope to. So take care until then. Taking your vehicle to the pros at Jim's Transmission.